Guys! Guys! It's Valentine's Day! And what better place is there to be than for your lonely ass to be right here on Playfur Cinema? My name is Jawbreaker and welcome to Gone with the Fur Theater. So, in the past here on the channel, we have had a couple of hottest anthropomorphic girl elimination game videos. Our first biggest elimination game included all bunny girls. The goal of the game was to eliminate the least attractive girls in order until we have the final girl who was the hottest among them. In the final round of that game, it came down to Lola Bunny versus Judy Hops. With a total of 111 votes, Judy beat out Lola with 21 points. After the hottest bunny girl elimination game, we had a Sonic girl elimination game next, and the same rules apply for the hottest Sonic girl elimination game. In the final round, it came down to Sally Acorn versus Rouge the Bat. With a total of 155 votes, Sally Acorn beat out Rouge by 3 votes, to be called the hottest Sonic girl here on Playfur Cinema. Today, the accuracy of our final votes will be tested on a wider scale. Over the course of January, I took poll surveys among furry and non-furry fans to see who they thought was the hottest among the anthropomorphic women. Was we right, close, or way off? I guess you'll just have to stick around and see. The 3 main common hashtags used were furry, cartoon, and sometimes sexual Sunday. To avoid a character having an advantage, personal hashtags such as Zootopia and Sonic the Hedgehog were not used, unless the characters on the poll were from the same brand or from the same series. Our first of 10 polls was a MILF-off featuring the mothers of Sonic the Hedgehog, Vanilla the Rabbit, Queen Annalena, Bernadette, and Alicia Acorn. This was the smallest poll with 177 votes. Of course, this one was completely one-sided with Vanilla the Rabbit having 75%. The second highest was Bernadette Hedgehog with a still extremely low 11%. When it comes to the mothers of Sonic the Hedgehog, it's generally always about Vanilla the Rabbit anyway. But for this particular poll, I had to give my vote to Bernadette Hedgehog, the mother of Sonic in the Archie comics, because I really do feel she was underrated in terms of who was the hottest mother in the Sonic universe. Not to say that to take anything away from Vanilla, of course. I'm just saying Vanilla might need a little bit of competition, and that Bernadette might need someone there to rub a little sunscreen on her ass every now and then. Our next featured girls come from Planet Dolan. I asked fans, who did they think was the sexiest anthropomorphic on Planet Dolan? Between Shima and Melissa, with a total of 201 votes. Shima won, no contest, with 73%. Melissa, 27%. Oh, come on guys, that's just mean. Not even 30%? There's still some hope with 30%. I'm just saying, bird girls need love too. Our next poll is a notorious one among Sonic fans. I asked the Sonic forums and a mixture of other fans who did they think was the sexiest between Amy Rose and Sally Acorn. But Amy Rose is just 12. Nope, she's not Cream the Rabbit. She's old enough. So, as we go into the results, and it turned out, if you were a fan of Amy Rose, or especially a Son Amy fan, then this would feel like a straight kick in the nuts. Out of 232 votes, fans selected Sally Acorn as the sexiest among her and Amy Rose, leading the charge with a 72%, while Amy Rose had 28. Now, similar to the Shima and Melissa poll, I decided that once a character hits that 20% mark, there's pretty much no hope that they'll ever come back. For example, there has been a little bit of a flicker for Amy. She has went up to 30%. But then what happens is, as it goes on, she'll drop right back down again, which is why this wasn't worth pushing. So with that, the jailbait loses and we go on to our next poll. Our next bout is a rematch 24 years in the making. A little bit of a history lesson for those of you who seem to think that only furries vote on this stuff. In 1990, a TV show named Tiny Toon Adventures debuted. Within that show, we were introduced to a French purple skunk named Fifi la Fume, which is on the right. Amongst fans furry and non-furry, Fifi la Fume was considered the sexiest anthropomorphic female within the 90s. Or better yet, probably the sexiest in general since it was still 1990 and no real competition was built up yet. But then 3 years later came and we were introduced to the Animaniacs, which brought to us Minerva Mink. But this time, among fans, Minerva beats out Fifi and takes her crown. The title of Sexiest only lasted between Fifi and Minerva because it was soon retired. In today's throwback poll, we'll see exactly how these results hold up 24 years later. And as you can see, there will be no redemption for Fifi La Fume when it comes to Minerva Mink. With a total of 302 votes, Minerva completely bulldozes Fifi La Fume in the category of Sexiest, with an 83% lead. Though if the title was never retired, it is possible that Minerva would have went up against her bitter rival in the boner creating department on the other side of the Warner Brothers watermark, Lola Bunny. However, just because they can't, doesn't mean we here at Playfur Cinema won't. In a slightly smaller poll than Fifi versus Minerva, with 279 votes, Minerva takes a beating from Lola worse than what she gave to Fifi, being completely dominated by Lola's 88%. Though I will say this poll isn't entirely fair. I say that because Space Jam Lola and Minerva Mink have a similar background, being remembered mainly for their sex appeal, and because of that they have both earned a similar bad reputation. But the thing about this poll is, it reflects 20 years later and not what could have been 20 years back. Within 20 years, Lola has managed to stay relevant and redeem her character. Minerva, on the other hand, never got that fighting chance even before her show ended. But even still, I still didn't expect it to be this one-sided. This next poll is for those who love pussy. Cats. In this random mashup, I asked fans who did they think was sexiest between Kitty Catswell of Tough Puppy and Collie Briggs of SWAT Cats. This poll was voted on a total of 348 times. Aww, Collie only got 30%? But it's Collie Briggs. Just why? Kitty Catswell leads with 70%, Collie with 30%. And well, truth be told, it isn't that bad. I mean, she could have lost to someone so much more worse. There's nothing wrong with losing to Kitty, though we might fight about this still just a smidge. I feel that gap should be just a little bit more closer, not 30%. Our next biggest mashup features the Chipettes, Jeanette Miller, Brittany Miller, and Eleanor Miller. The 80s versions, of course. And I asked fans who did they think was the cutest among the three. And the survey says, with a total of 384 votes, Brittany Miller among fans is considered the cutest Chipette, though it is still a bit torn between her and Jeanette. If me personally had to choose, I would say Brittany would be the best Chipette, Jeanette the cutest Chipette, and Eleanor as the most adorable. And that's how I would prevent a civil war from breaking out, because actually I was going for Brittany. Sorry, Jeanette fans. I'm just gonna move on now. The following results, on the other hand, is not my fault because I voted for Krystal. In our biggest poll to first reach the 400 mark with 422 votes, Renamon beats Krystal with 53%. You know guys, this is like the equivalent of Nicole the Lynx beating Sally Acorn in a sexy contest. And I'm sorry, I just know this ain't nobody but you first. Ain't nobody but you vote for Renamon to win this. Renamon doesn't even really have a gender. Does she even have a pussy? You know what? And I move on now. It's time for our first of two main events where we revisit the hottest Sonic Girl elimination game. As I already stated earlier, here on Playfur Cinema, Sally Acorn beat out Rouge as the sexiest Sonic Girl with 3 points. However, when we take it to a wider scale, will Sally Acorn still be in the lead? And those results are... Now, I know some of you Sally Acorn fans are saying, "Aw," but truth be told, it's actually not as bad as it seems right here. Because this particular poll is unique because Sally Acorn was actually winning among Sonic fans. Luckily, I've kept some older screenshots of the results. For a good while, Sally was actually maintaining a lead over Rouge. But because they were so close, I deemed it too early to call the results. So I allowed the votes to continue. which began slowly backfiring on Sally, until Sally started to lose her grip around the 500 mark. Unfortunately, Sally's numbers never went back up and I had to call the results. Rouge wins with 55%. Now it's time to play a game of Jawbreaker Told You So. Because if I remember correctly, I said in the Hottest Sonic Girl elimination game that any other day, a beauty contest amongst Sonic Girls is usually something Rouge wins. And somebody said I had no respect for women because of this. You see, the thing is, it never bothered me that Sally beat Rouge. I love it when Sally wins. I love defending her. If anybody could beat Rouge at a beauty contest, it is Sally Acorn. But you have to know her victory is not really set in stone. See, whether some folks like to listen to this portion or not, the Hottest Sonic Girl and the Hottest Bunny Girl elimination games were physical beauty contests. And for those who like to use personality as an excuse to vote for their favorite anyway, don't count Rouge's personality when it benefits her character. Because truth be told, Rouge has a combination of best body and best seductive attitude. So if we really wanted to include personality, Sally Acorn does have a good body on her, but Sally doesn't have the best fitting personality to beat Rouge overall. That's just me. It might sound like nonsense, but Rouge still won by 10%. Not to mention Rouge has tits. Tits automatically win. Anyway, it's time to move on to the final poll. Oh, not again! So, in our final poll, it is Judy Hopps versus Lola Bunny. So, we had our Hottest Bunny Girl elimination game before the Hottest Sonic Girl elimination game. And if you watch that video, you'll realize that Lola Bunny was pretty much curb stomping everybody week after week. But then when we got to Judy versus Lola, well, I guess since Zootopia was such a damn good movie that we forgot that this was a beauty contest and we let Thumper beat Jessica Rabbit. And I'm getting ready to relive this mess again. So, without further ado, Judy Hopps wins by, and you know what, I'll actually give her a drum roll this time. Oh, I'm sorry. Did I mislead you? I meant to say lost with 31%. See, in this type of stuff, you gotta love wider audiences because you just know more people are gonna vote for what makes sense. I asked, who did they think was the sexiest rabbit between Lola Bunny and Judy Hopps? With 785 votes, Lola Bunny wins with 69%. Oh! You mean to tell me Jawbreaker gets not one I told you so, but he gets two I told you so's with a limited edition screw you thrown in? Oh well. Of course, you know, don't pay no attention to Jawbreaker. He has no respect for women and is a sexist when it's convenient for people. Anyway, that's enough of Jawbreaker's salt in the wound. It's time to wrap this video up. Anyway, all jokes aside, guys, thanks for tuning in to Battle of the Sexiest fan picks here on Gone with the Fur Theater. If you liked today's video, please leave a comment, a like, and subscribe for future videos. My name is Jawbreaker, and I thank you for watching Playfur Cinema.